How you guys doing today? It's been a couple of days since I posted a video. Kind of dealt with a few things that I kind of want to glaze over real quick because it's easier than getting too deep. This isn't necessarily going to be a sad video, but it's not really going to be a funny video. But it's not going to be sad. I mean, I don't know your levels of sadness, so I don't know. So as you guys kind of picked up on the other video, I mentioned that I have been sober for, at this point of filming, as of New Year's Eve, I've not had any alcohol. Now, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself an alcoholic, or I didn't consider myself an alcoholic, but I never thought I drank too much. Not too much, but like more than I should. Anyway, I come from a family of substance abusers. A lot of people in my family have issues either with alcohol, heavy narcotics, pills, all types of things. Which isn't exactly uncommon where I live. Delaware County, where Delco, as we call it, right outside of Philadelphia, is a very highly, I don't want to say highly drug infested, but it's definitely an area that's not like super clean. Anyway, I didn't know if I was going to make a whole video about this, but I decided to do it anyway, just to have something to reference back if any of you ask the question in the future. Now, what I mean when I say I drank too much, really stemmed to like if I would get off work or I'd be coming home from somewhere, my first thought would be, oh, let me go grab a six-pack. Drink a couple beers while I'm playing Grand Theft Auto or while I'm doing some programming. Whatever, pass some time. Which is how it started out. Very innocently, just, I'm going to play some video games, let's have a drink. Because usually I used to hang out with other people and we would drink while we played video games, or we would meet up. I have a couple of programming friends who would meet up and drink while we code. Not like heavily drink, but you know, I'd have a beer every hour while I'm programming. Not at all heavy stuff. Anyway, the issue started to arise where after a couple of years, because I'm almost 27. Ooh. The issue arose where it became habitual. In that, I trained myself to want to pick up beer on the way home from work. And being from the area I'm at, and being from the family I've been from, I never really saw my usage of alcohol to be too much. Mostly because comparatively, I was still pretty low compared to a lot of people in the area. But it was starting to get a little worse. And I always had the mentality, well, whatever. I have a vice, it's not a big deal. As long as it's not stopping me from working, as long as it's not hindering me from doing the things I want to do, as long as it's not stopping me from progressing. And in my mind, it wasn't. And what I mean by that is it felt very much like I was still going to work and I was killing it. I was killing it at work. I would go to work and I could praise all day. Oh man, you sold all of this stuff. You were killing it today. Or I'd be working on apps and games, programming, and I'd get a lot of work done. It also sort of became a way for me to inhibit the ADHD a little bit because it would slow down the excessiveness of my brain, which was kind of nice, without being to the extreme that like Adderall was, because I don't like Adderall for ADHD. I have ADHD, not like clinical Adderall. Using it the way you're supposed to. It would make me feel silent in my head, which is just unnatural to me. I'm like, beehive worth of people up here. And alcohol, so as an explanation, I feel like my brain, or my thought process, I should say, is like an 8-lane street. Tons of thoughts going down that highway, right? With Adderall, it turns to a 1-lane street. Shut down. With alcohol, it was like a 3 or a 4-lane street, so I'm still thinking a lot, but there's less white noise. And it kind of helped me with programming, helped me with doing some video editing. It was a relaxer, or it was a way for me to say, hey look, this isn't really a bad thing, it's helping me out a little bit. And I really was excelling in mostly everything I was doing. That sounded like bragging. Not excelling, but I was doing what I wanted to do, and I was doing it at least to the level that I felt was appropriate. And because of that, I never looked at it as a problem. Because in all honesty, it wasn't really a problem. And I still don't even think it was a huge deal. But it became so habitual. I'd be drinking almost 7 nights a week. It got pretty bad for a while. Again, not getting like blackout drunk or anything. I wouldn't be like taking a case to the face every night. But I would get a 6-pack and maybe drink most of that 6-pack every night. Maybe not the whole thing, probably like 4 of them. Or I'd get a case of beer at the beginning of the week and it would last me like 4-5 days. So more than I should have, but not necessarily too much. But still a lot. And as I mentioned earlier, I come from a family in an area with heavy drug abuse. So it also lessened it in my eyes to think, oh, this alcohol is not really that big a deal because I know people who are coked out. I know people who are on heroin. I know people who are pillheads. Like, I'm fully functioning. I'm going to work every day. I'm paying all my bills. I'm eating every day because I have money in my bank. I'm spending extra money on alcohol for fun. And I just kept rationalizing that. And it became this crutch of like, well, it's not really affecting my life, and I'm still getting things done, so it's not a bad thing. And there's people doing way worse stuff. And then it started to turn. And what I mean by that is I started to notice that I was drinking a little bit more than I normally would every night. Jumping from maybe like 4 beers up to like 6 or 7. And then, rather than just allowing me to focus a little bit more when I was programming, I would start getting too buzzed that I couldn't focus on actually doing the work. And I fell off of programming. Also stopped me from being able to video edit very well, I would say. And a few other things. But then I started to realize that it wasn't even that it was not a detriment or that I wasn't doing what I felt that I could accomplish. Because for me the bar was, am I functioning and am I doing the things that I want to do? Yes. And then one day it hit me, it's like, yeah, maybe I am, but what if I'm only at my 50% capacity? What if I'm living up to my own level of, this is what I want to do? But maybe if I take a break from it, I'll see past that and realize that I'm actually only doing half of what I really want to do. And it's kind of hard to articulate that very well. But because I was functioning, I was doing everything, I felt I was good enough. And I didn't really look to the fact that, well, what's good enough? Because really that's just a rationalization for allowing myself to continue to do the heavy drinking. So then I thought to myself, there are all these things I really want to do. There are all these things that I keep telling myself I'm going to do. And this would in some way stop me from reaching the level of what I wanted. Meaning with YouTube, I would get home and I'd be like, oh cool, I have a video to edit. But I already had like 3 beers and I'm like, well, I'll drink another beer and I'll play GTA for like a half hour and then I'll go back to editing. And then by that time I've had like a 5th beer, too drunk to, not drunk, but too buzzed to start editing or programming. So then I'm like, well, screw it. I'm too buzzed now. I'll just keep drinking because I'm not going to get any work done tonight anyway. Let me just have some more fun. And then that just would snowball, if that makes sense. So I decided to stop. And I'm in no way just never doing alcohol again. At least that's not the plan. I think at least for me, it's a lot easier to stop something when I know that it's for a finite amount of time. Meaning that I told myself I wanted to go to my birthday, March 6th, with no alcohol. That's 2 months and 6 days from the new year. I'm at 21 days now, 22 days, 23 days now, which is, and this is not a joke, the longest span I've went without having any alcohol since I was 21. Almost positive of that. And that's sort of crazy to think about. I never really thought about it. I'm like, how have I never gone a full month without drinking? Maybe I should try that and see if I have all these extra abilities that I don't know I have because I've just clouded them in a sea of being drunk at least twice a week. And then there was one more thing. I had a really weird experience about 2 weeks ago. My brother Mikey, as you guys have seen him on these videos before, I don't know if we've brought this up in prior videos, but he is a drug user. He has a drug problem. To the point where there was a span of our life where we thought we were going to lose him from drugs. I still sometimes worry about it. And I won't get into the specifics of what he does in his life, but that's what it is. Now, right before the new year, he told me he wanted to try to get clean. That he wanted to check himself into rehab and work on himself. Which is why you guys have seen him in a lot more videos recently, is I wanted to spend more time with him, work with getting his confidence up, getting his life ambitions and goals up. And I saw him 2 weeks ago, was the last time I saw him. He told me he was going that night to go check in to rehab. Or I saw him in the morning that night, that afternoon he was going. And I hadn't heard from him, which I didn't expect to, because when you check yourself into those places, they take your phone away to limit your ability to reach out to things that might help further your addiction. Like talking to a drug addict on the phone, or I don't know. Point is, I hadn't heard from him for like 3 or 4 days. And then I get a call from my dad. Well, his dad. That's a long story. I'm not going to get into it. And he asked me if I had heard from my brother. And I said, not in like 3 or 4 days. What's going on? And he said, I think your brother's dead. And just like that awkward silence, it was an awkward silence for like 5 or 6 seconds. Felt like a year. And I remember thinking, the first thought in my head was, no. He told me he was going, and I know what a lot of people will say is with, drug addicts, you never really can trust them. But I've grown up with my brother my whole life. He's been one of my closest friends. And I can tell that the ambition to really clean himself up was there. So I kept telling myself, no, this isn't real, this is not true. And he, not to get into the details, but he said he had heard it from, he wasn't certain. I guess I don't want to get too specific and point out people who did some shitty things, but he was secondhand informed that my brother was dead. And he said he wasn't really sure, but he was crying, he was very upset. And at this point, I'm almost in tears as well. So I get off the phone with him, and I just sit there and I think. And I think. And my mind went to so many places. And I just remember thinking to myself, this is not real. He was stronger than that. Yes, he had an issue and a struggle, but he was stronger than that. And about 15 minutes passed, and it felt like a long time. And the amount of emotion I went through in that 15 minutes was indescribable. But as much as I kept telling myself it wasn't real, there was a part of me that had already given up. That had already said to myself, he's gone, what's next? And then my phone rings. and it's his dad again, and he's fighting through tears on the other side of the phone, and he says, "I just got off the phone with your brother. He's at rehab right now. They're taking his phone away in 2 minutes. He's okay." And obviously the relief and the thankfulness that I felt at that moment was, again, indescribable. It was a moment, and that was 2 weeks ago. He's been in rehab. I think I'm gonna see him again in like a week or a day or 2 days. I think he gets out tomorrow. I don't know when I'll see him exactly. But that really hit me. And I initially decided to stop drinking for my own reasons. And then I realized that I should continue to not drink for other people's reasons. And by that, me not drinking allows me to be a beacon of an example to him, and allows me to be sober, because I remember in that moment, those 15 minutes when I thought he was gone, I remember least of all thinking tons of things, but least of all was most of the recent times I've hung out with my brother, I have been drinking. One, setting a bad example, and two, I don't really remember the memories that well. Luckily, unlike most people, I film a lot of the stuff I do, and if he did leave and did pass away, I would still have the memories on footage and all that. But I didn't have them up here. And the thought of thinking that the last time I hung out with my brother being a drunken blur, kind of hit me in a way I didn't think it would. So, the plan is, at least for now, to not drink until my birthday. Because, I'm going to be honest with you, I live in Delco. There's no way that my birthday's going to come and people aren't going to buy me drinks. It's just, that's the society here. But after that, I plan on continuing to not drink. For myself, for my brother, for my memories, for the example I set to you guys, to my families, to my friends, to life. And of course, he's okay. He's good. I think hopefully I see him tomorrow or the next day. If I do, I'll bring him in the videos. You guys can say hi. Just wanted to talk about that. It's kind of why I haven't posted a video in a couple days. I really have needed some time to mentally go through all of that. Yeah, I think that's the end of the video. Doesn't have to make sense, guys. I'll see you next time.